Hi everyone, so my name is Joseph, and today I wanted to discuss games that released for the PS4 but also did have PS3 versions. So essentially, these are remasters. I don't think remakes specifically, but just remastered versions of games that released on the PS3. So I really do own these digitally on my PS4. When they go on sale, they go on sale for really low prices. And since I already owned them on my PS3, that's why I really usually I don't like to get things digitally, but that's why in this instance I was fine with it. But recently I was just thinking about I am a physical kind of person. I like my collection being physical. And so because of that, even though if I do own these physically on my PS3, technically they are different games since they were remastered. That's why I wanted to have them reflected in my collection. So let's go ahead and get started. The first one is Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. So I'm not going to lie, when I got this game, I was confusing this game with Most Wanted. So so I was a little bit surprised when I downloaded it the first time, and I was like, "Where's the open road aspect?" That's right. It is Hot Pursuit, not Most Wanted. With that being said, I never really did I play this. I played this on my 360 way back when, but not on my PS3. And so that's a small white lie. I don't own this one physically on my PS3. So I made it. Oh, excuse me. So one might be confused. Then what the hell am I talking about? So for some games, since I wanted Most Wanted, I made the choice to get Most Wanted physically on my PS3 rather than Hot Pursuit. Because again, I specifically wanted Most Wanted. So not too many games where that occurred. Actually, this might be the only one. Hence why I forgot to explain that at the beginning. So I don't own this on my PS3. I own Most Wanted instead. So actually, now that I realized that, I'm really happy that I own this physically now. The Most Wanted was supposed to represent the Need for Speed series, because right. Anyways, because I was going to explain, I also did get Need for Speed Heat when that was on sale digitally, because I did go on sale, not on sale. That was offered on PS Plus, but I got that before it was offered, and so I don't own that physically. And my rationale was, well, I have Most Wanted to represent the Need for Speed series, but I'm definitely going to get Need for Speed Heat physically when I find that for a pretty decent low price. The next one is BioShock the Collection. So I do own this on my PS3 for sure. Of course, how can I not? Especially the first one and Infinite. Unfortunately, I haven't beaten the second game yet. I started it, but I haven't gotten very far on my PS3. But I've always heard when it first came out, I heard it was worse than the first one. But of course, with time, now that time has gone by, there's more positive reaction towards Bioshock 2. Moving forward, Batman Return to Arkham. Again, just like with Bioshock, I of course already played this on my PS3. How can I not? When this first came out, a lot of people were surprised, happily so, with the great quality of a comic book game character. Before Spider-Man, Insomniac Spider-Man came out, Rocksteady's Batman was the comic book character game that one was trying to emulate. And in fact, Spider-Man's combat style, I would argue, is very reminiscent of the Arkham franchise. So one could definitely see the inspiration that Batman did have on Insomniac's Spider-Man. I of course do also own Arkham Knight. Unfortunately, I did beat Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. I have not yet beaten Arkham Knight, which is on the PS4, and I also do own Arkham Origins as well, my PS3. I'm enjoying the Origins from what little I've played so far. I do want to beat them eventually, them being both Origins and Arkham City. But I'm going to beat Origins first, then go to City. So this one was a bit of a. So I do own the. I forgot which Far Cry specifically this one came with, but I do own the season passes for Far Cry 4, 5, and not 6 yet. But when I see it for a good sale, I'll get it on that as well. But this one came out. The Classic Edition came out with one of the season passes. So I didn't personally buy this individually. This came from the season passes. I do own this on PS3, but I did really enjoy it, and I figured, you know what, this is something I probably would have bought personally anyways, so that's why I made the choice to get it physically, and this was really cheap, by the way. All these games were really cheap. They're all brand new, but they were all hovering around $20 and lower than that, so how can I say no to that, right? These next two, again, I do own on my PS3. I have actually a lot of fond memories of playing with a buddy and also two buddies, and then playing solo. This one's the one I mostly play with a couple friends of mine. Resident Evil 5. I mostly play with friends on the PS3 version, but I'm hoping I'll be able to do the same with the PS4. My friends that I played with on the PS3, unfortunately, um, they didn't get the remastered version, and the other one doesn't really play as often as they used to. So excuse me, I was holding that awkwardly. And of course, Resident Evil 6. How can I get one without the other? So again, I did get all of these brand new. This one's only open though because unfortunately the disc was loose. So I want to make sure and correct that. But I don't mind. I'm not a grader, as in I'm not gonna send in my games to get graded. And also, I am all of my games that I own, even if they are sealed, I plan on playing them one day. Oh, I guess asterisk for my PS4 because some of them I do own digitally, but I'm not planning on selling them. I'm planning on keeping them in my collection. It's my library, right? In the same way that I have my book library, and I do need to get another bookshelf to continue expanding my collection of books. I also have my gaming library. Moving forward, Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition. So this is a really fun game. Unfortunately, I haven't beaten it yet on the PS3. But I'm going to beat that version first before I move on to the PS4 version so I can see the differences. Or rather, so I could feel the differences and see the differences. But if one enjoys Grand Theft Auto, highly encourage one to check out Sleeping Dogs. The Definitive Edition does include all the DLC. This is such a really surprising game that really caught me off guard. And the lead character, the main character, the protagonist, Wei Shin, he's really cool. I am enjoying, again, from what little I've played so far, I'm enjoying his characterization. So then this one I do not own. So 2 games, like the very first one, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. I do not own this one physically in my PS3, but I do have it, I think, through PS Plus on my PS4. And this was always a game I was kind of interested in, mostly because I believe the individuals who made Gears of War, not all of them, I think some of them helped to create this one as well. But what game am I talking about? Bulletstorm. So I got the full clip edition. So again, like with the Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, I don't own this on the PS3. So I'm quite happy that I do own this physically now. I'm actually quite shocked. I guess because my rationale back then was I honestly would not have bought this game. I did want to check it out, but since I got it for free and it was something, and if I did want to check out, I would have bought. That was my rationale for getting the physical version. So this one was probably the most expensive one, only because this one came out at a later date, 2017, rather than well, it's not even too long ago. But yeah, this was a little more difficult to find compared to the other ones. This one, just like with Far Cry, I got the remastered version for this game via, excuse me, that was a hiccup, that was another hiccup, excuse me, via, one of the season passes. I believe this was with the season pass for, it was either one of the newer iterations or, the one that was Unity. What am I talking about? Assassin's Creed. I was trying to keep the name a secret on purpose. So what do I mean by newer iterations? If you ask Assassin's Creed fans, most of them, I would argue, would say that there's 2 versions of Assassin's Creed. You have the version with the typical Assassin's Creed combat that started with the first Assassin's Creed, and the version that shifted became a bit more RPG, like via Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. And I believe the remastered version came with one of the season passes for, it was either Syndicate or maybe it was Origins or Odyssey. Unlike Far Cry, I do enjoy the Assassin's Creed series. I do like the story, even if the story did peter out once Desmond, spoilers, was killed off. Since I got, this is something if I wanted to play my PS4, I for sure would have bought. So that's why I made the choice. You know what? I'll go ahead and reflect that physically in my library. And then last but certainly not least, we have Assassin's Creed Rogue Remastered. And yeah, just like, to be frank with everyone, I know my original rationale was to only get the Assassin's Creed mainline games, so not include this one. But I always see it so cheap on PSN. And honestly, with everyone, I am a fan of the Assassin's series of the franchise, and I do like the lore behind the Assassins versus the Templars. And since this one has a kind of a unique premise, and also you do have a boat, not too many Assassin's Creed games have that anymore. The only ones with the boat would be Black Flag, Rogue, and a little bit Odyssey, but not to the same extent that it was with Rogue and Black Flag. And I honestly don't see Assassin's Creed going back to that boat setting, at least not anytime soon. just because it did it so often, leading up to with the other releases with Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. Even with Valhalla, there is a boat, but it's a long boat, right? So a condensed version of the bigger boats, the sailboats, I guess, that we got used to with Black Flag, Odyssey, and Rogue. But yeah, so I do have some more games that I bought digitally that were remasters, but they're coming in the mail, or I'm just going to wait to purchase them, and eventually they'll be coming in the mail. But of course, once they do get here, I'll share them with you guys. Do you guys buy remastered versions of games? And if you do, you get them only physically, only digitally, like me at first, or did you cave in and end up wanting to reflect your collection, and you own them both digitally and physically? So just to reiterate, I got Assassin's Creed Rogue. These are all remasters, so I'm not going to say the remastered part. Assassin's Creed 3. Bulletstorm full clip. Oh, excuse me. I guess I'll show the back portion too. Bulletstorm full clip edition. Sleeping Dogs Definitive edition. It almost slipped from my hands. I really like the cover art for this one too. It looks really... It looks quite busy, as in there's a lot going on, but I think it really works. It flows well together. Reminds me kind of like those old school movie posters that Stranger Things tried to emulate. And I guess other things like the Quarry and that video game, the Quarry, the title art. Resident Evil 6. Resident Evil 5. Far Cry 3 Classic Edition. Batman Return to Arkham. BioShock the Collect. Sheesh. And you guys didn't see, but I dropped it at the bottom right here too. Thankfully, it wasn't too much of a long drop, and that's why I did that noise. And then obviously when I picked it up, you guys did see that, I think, when it slipped from my hands. BioShock the Collection. And the Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. And then to reiterate, I do own all of these copies on my PS3 except for Hot Pursuit and Bulletstorm. Let me double check that, make sure that's true. Oh, and Assassin's Creed Rogue. Good thing I remember. So 3 games. Well, actually, I also don't own Assassin's Creed 3 in my PS3. So even though I am fans of it, of that franchise, I just never bought them physically on my PS3 because I played them on my 360 first. And to be frank with everyone, even though I do like the story, I mean, it is Assassin's Creed, so I never felt the need to play them again on my PS3. But since they were remastered and I got them digitally on my PS4, I don't mind doing that, especially when it was so cheap. So to reiterate, I own all of these games on my PS3 except for Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, Assassin's Creed Rogue, Assassin's Creed Rogue, Assassin's Creed 3, and then Bulletstorm. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching, everyone. Sorry for that awkward couple silences. I was just thinking, and also excuse me for looking out to the left, your right, at the end of that as well. I was looking at the sides of the games, at the names. But yeah, so again, do you collect things? Do you collect remastered games? Do you collect things? Do you collect remastered games? And if you do, is it only digitally, physically, or both? Thank you so much for watching. As always, I really do appreciate it. Have a great day, everyone, and take care.